I am curious just because the way you guys have said it. So the book in itself, it's fully written from what I understand, right?
Yes, it's
Cool.
It's
completely
done.
done.
Yeah.
It
It's
has
done,
been
done.
for some time.
Sometime it's in the can, completely done. All the page, all every single page has been sent a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I know
So
that
it is
because
done, done.
it's
Okay.
done because I also lettered it. So when Josh mentioned
Oh,
about the changing of dialogue and stuff, we didn't have to send to a letterer to go. Let's wait for the letterer to get done. It was literally me doing it live, going, wait, this line could be changed around a bit, and I really messaged messaged Josh for this panel. What do you think of me changing to this? And we would instantly talk about it, and boom, and it went through. So everything is completely done. All the covers
oh,
are done.
awesome.
So there's no delay. The only delay that we may have is, if Diamond is late shipping it for what, because of what's happening outside. You never know. But, you know, for production wise, we're done. We're just, we want to see it ourselves. We want to see it in a printed format in our hands. But it's done for a while. So don't worry about delays. Don't worry about anything. We're literally just chilling out, waiting for the book to be done, and thinking about what hopefully a second series. If there's enough people reading it and wanting more, then we can talk about that with Source Print Press.
I was actually, yeah, that was gonna kind of be the next question. Is there a plan to have that, or are you guys waiting for sort of feedback on the first series and how it does before you start actually, putting pen to paper and jotting down ideas and a script for a second series?
Well, I have really rough notes for second series. Josh, I think, went on and did a plot. I think. Did you?
I've roughed out. This is like pie in the sky dream, but I've roughed out a trilogy,
Oh,
and
awesome.
that's all I'll say. But it's yeah. So I have a very rough outline that could be a trilogy. Definitely influenced by a George Romero kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, I would love it. I would love to go back to this world a couple more times for sure.
Perfect. Well, that is good to hear. Um, I think when it comes to the book itself, I think we've kind of covered the basis. Is there anything else that you want fans to know about the book, beyond like how to get it and stuff, but like about the story or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of people always, when they hear about Damn Cursed Children, see the covers, and they assume it's going to be one of those survivor stories and like who's going to die next kind of thing. But if you want a story where you see characters act like what how people would normally, well, I guess normally, but how irrationally people can become in uh, a crazy situation, that's the kind of book that we wrote. Yes, we have a backdrop of a horrific backdrop for the story, but we didn't intend to go. Okay, we're gonna see how many times we can have gore and guts and killing in every page. That was never the agenda. It came naturally. So if the character can run away without doing anything, they would run away. That was the whole discussion when we talked about how a character, X character, Y character would react in this scene. It was never like, well, they'll automatically find a weapon and make this into a weapon or pick up a chair and go at it. No, they would probably throw the chair if they had time or just run their asses off. So that's what we're going to do here. So that's the kind of story that it is for character-wise. As for the entire story, um, it's a lot of homages what you put in there, but it's a lot of new stuff that we take, which what we did by taking something that is usually done and flipping it on its head because, as like I said, a lot of horror movies go out for they actually have a checklist. I won't mention which movies they are, or stories they are, and books they are. They have a checklist of what they want to do, but we took those checklists and I'm like, no, that's not how people would. No, this wouldn't really happen. This is how people would react. So we changed those things from the stereotypical stuff. So some people will be surprised. Like even the publishers are like, I thought you were going to go this way, but you guys went completely different for this scene. That's why they took it. I mean, they liked the idea when, as I said, that story about the convention, but they needed to read it. So when they read the script and saw the art and all that, that's when he gave me the contract. They didn't give me the contract at the convention. I hope no one makes mistakes like they're going to send me a contract on the con floor. Never happens, guys. So they read it, and it took about a week and a bit before they got back because he asked questions about the story. It's like, where's this going? Because I thought this was going to be like a typical horror survivor story where X, Y, and Z. I'm like, that's exactly what we didn't want to do. We took X, Y, and Z and flushed it down the toilet because it doesn't make sense in reality. So that's why our story is different. And then once they read it, they got it, and you're like, now we're going to send you the contract because this is definitely something different that we want to do. So if you want something that's a horror, but different in that sense, definitely check out Damn Cursed Children. Yes, our covers are homages because we're horror fans and we wanted to do something different and stand out. And poor Robin is not a horror fan, so we sent him an email that's I don't know how many pages long, and that with just visual references between me and Josh from EC comic books, the Marvel horror comic books. We totally forgot about it, actually. It's because it's been a while when we sent those cover ideas, and then movie poster ideas to him, and he's like, I haven't read or watched any of this. That's okay. That's all right. Just do these ones. Out of the thousands we sent you, do these ones first, and then that's what happened. So, it's a lot of love, and you can tell it's a lot of passion and work that was involved in this story, in this 5-issue story between me and Josh and Robin, because we took the time to do it right, I guess, because we didn't sit down and go, we're going to do this in a month and get it out there, done. It took, like I said, over more than a decade for us to get this. So every page, every panel was refined to the point where, as he mentioned, 11th hour, we were still working on it. It's like, we have about an hour before we have to send this to Source Point Press. Do you want to change this word balloon or not? So we were refining it to that point. So that's the kind of book that we have. I don't know, Josh, you want to add anything to that I missed possibly?
Well, my biggest point of pride is that, like, I fell in love with these characters, and there's a couple times where, kind of sitting at the keyboard, and you're like, the characters are in this situation, somebody has to not get out of this, and it it broke my heart. Like, I was like, you can't have a horror story where all of your characters at the end are like, yay, we did it, high five. But there's a couple times where you hear writers talk about this, about the term is kind of killing your darlings, or just you have to go through conflict, whether you're doing a romantic comedy or a horror film. But it's really great characters, and so it's not just like kind of a throwaway campy horror story. There's a lot of fun in there. There's a lot of big budget action, but at the core is these characters going through this insane day in the life. And so I think people check it out, they're going to find something that is both a tribute to the past and something brand new in the horror genre.
Perfect. That sounds so exciting to me. Now, I do want to make sure that people are aware. So how is it that people can get their hands on it? You mentioned earlier, so you could go directly to SourcePoint Press's website and order it there. I've seen that myself. But how else can they get their hands on it, to your knowledge?
Any comic book shop, any local comic book shop, you can literally ask them to order it. It's in previews. We have the order codes over social media. I can pop it up. I can actually pop it up if you guys want in this as I talk. It's if you go to any comic book shop, you can ask them to order Damn Cursed Children. If you need the order codes, let's see if I can get this.
You don't even. I mean, the order codes are nice, but what's great about comic shops is most comic shops are filled with excellent nerds who are there to help you. And
exactly.
I've pointed some family members and some friends who are not super comic nerds, and I've just told them, like, if you phone or email or social media a comic store, and hopefully most cities have a comic store, but some do not, but if you do, and just say, I want this book called Damn Cursed Children, it's in Preview's catalog from SourcePoint Press, they'll find it for you. And I know I sent an uncle of mine who, sadly it's difficult to buy comic books. Like, if you're buying a novel, you can walk into a bookstore and you could find it. But especially nowadays, like, this is a tangent, but when I was a kid, you could walk into a comic store and you can find these weird things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because every comic store might buy 5 copies. Nowadays, many comic stores don't even buy every Marvel, DC, Dark Horse kind of thing. So if you want something a bit off the beaten path, you've got to order it. They will order you one. And what I've told people, what's great about that is that if you're in Vancouver or Halifax Halifax or Ottawa or Detroit, and you order one copy, that might garner the attention of the person making the orders and go,
Yep.
maybe I'll order 2 more for the store. And so that helps us. Every little drop helps that way. But yeah, so if you have a local comic store in town, just touch base with them, and you can order all 3 back issues. I have a number of friends who have just added it to a pull list, introduced them to the concept of pull list, so they're going to get all 5 issues. So yeah, it's
Perfect. Yeah, and so absolutely, guys, if you're watching this, the biggest thing, and Josh, you're absolutely right to mention it, is get your local shops interested. Have them ask them about a book that maybe you don't see, because that's what gets the attention. And in this case, yeah, it might just lead to them going, you know what, I'll grab an extra 2 or 3 issues just so someone else might see it and get interested, and that way you can build a bit more of a fan base, but also get some exposure going for it as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to what you guys personally read, like, so we've talked about, from behind both of you, we can see quite great collections. Josh, you've mentioned all your life you've been reading comics. Howard, a little bit less so, but you're definitely in there, obviously. So what is it that on a daily basis, like at the moment, you guys are reading, whether it's comics or just other, fiction books, whatever?
Josh, you want to start out or?
sure. I read everything. For mainstream stuff, it's funny. A podcast that Howard and I did a little while ago, they asked me to do a top 10 list of graphic novels, collections, whatever. Oh my God, is that an impossible task?
Yeah.
Because
Oh my God, I'm still working on it.
I did it, but it could have been like a university paper. I could have worked on that for a year, but because you don't want to just do. I've heard film critics talk about this. You don't just want to put on Citizen Kane and Godfather and Gone with the Wind. So in comic books, I could have, without thinking about it, put on Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and Mouse and Love and Rockets and anything by Will Eisner. So you kind of want to be a bit different. So I know on this list, for example, that I did of recent or semi-recent stuff, I really loved Gwenpool. Gwenpool is this comic that kind of came out of left field and I know this because I just did a little bit of research for my paragraph for my top 10 list. It was a random throwaway variant cover that Chris Bacalo did for a Gwen Stacy month at Marvel, where all the comics had Gwen on it. So he made up Gwenpool just randomly. And then the editors at Marvel, without advertising behind it, started seeing Gwenpool show up at Comic Cons as cosplay,
Cool.
fan art online, and then they had her show up as a backup story in Howard the Duck, and then she has now had a number of series and miniseries and stuff. And it's this. So the plot is someone from our universe who's an eccentric comic book reading teenager falls into the Marvel universe. So she knows all the secrets. She knows she can't die because she's in a PG comic book. So she's this crazy, like, Looney Tunes character, and it has all this Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, fourth wall breaking stuff. And amongst all this goofiness has a lot of heart and a lot of stuff about being a teenage girl in the comic book world and her family life and all this stuff. So that's one book that sadly has been canceled somewhat recently, but you can go back and get the trades, and she'll show up again because they did this amazing fourth wall breaking thing where she has a pet land shark, and they had her show up in Deadpool, give her pet to Deadpool because she said, I'm about to be canceled and I might never show up again. So can you take care of my pet? And it was this bizarre thing because you're like, yeah, maybe that's it for Gwenpool. And she wanted her pet to live on. So, yeah, so that's a book in the last few years that I thought was really good all the way through, and that you could easily pick up in a trade form or back issues at your local comic shop. So that's one book that comes to mind that I really love of late.
Awesome.
That's a good one, actually. Damn, that is a good one.
Yeah, like that's a cool story.
It's a good book.
That's a good
Very
one.
good book.
I've been actually like I think most nerds redoing their bookshelf, so I've been rereading old stuff. So as of late, I reread some of the Max from Image, which is a great series. Oh my God, it's a bizarre
I
series.
love the Max.
Umbrella Academy, because my wife and kids are not comic book readers. So when we watch the show on Netflix, they're like, "How's the comic books?" I'm like, "Completely different." But both of these things are amazing. The show is amazing, and the comic books is a wholly different thing. So I was digging that out and started rereading it myself. So those are great stuff. Um, what else did I start reading again? Oh, Superman: Secret Identity. That is one of my favorite Superman stories of all time. It's so well done because it's not Superman, but it is Superman. That's a really hard thing to explain the plot without spoiling it. But do pick it up. It's so well written from Kurt Busiek. The art is by Stuart Immonen. Oh my God, the art is absolutely perfect. If you ask me, it's absolutely insane. The coloring and everything. So that's what I've been reading as of late. So it's been one of those weird nerd stuff. I know I was talking about where you asked that question of where people can grab our stuff. I'm gonna share this. I found.
Sure.
See if I can find. Can I do it? Is it working? Is it not working? I didn't.
Currently, I've got a black. Oh,
You got it.
there we go.
Big
Damn
guy.
Cursed Children number 1. Yeah, 1 to 3 of 5.
Yep. So issues 1, 2, and 3 are in previews. Issue 4 will be in next month's previews, which means that they'll be in February. And that's an important thing for people to hear is do pre-order our comic, anybody's comic, to be honest, in the indie press world, because if you don't pre-order the comic books, most comic book shops will not order them for other people to walk in, because there's no more walk-ins anyways because of the lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
So please do pre-order. So these are the order codes that I just showed you just now. So, as the saying goes, pre-order the comic books. Everybody do that, and do pick up your comic book when you're done pre-ordering them. So you can use the order codes. You don't have to. You can contact your any comic shop and just say, "I want Damn Cursed Children now." That's the most important words. The last part now, and if you're a horror fan, get them. If you know a horror fan, get them. It's a great gift. A lot of people are dropping off, stay-at-home packages to each other, families and friends. Food is great. I love getting food. Food is awesome. But when you drop me off a book or comic books and stuff like that, that's very appreciative, you ask me, because I can't go out there all the time, and you can't go out there all the time. So imagine having a stack of comic books besides, a bunch of muffins. Just imagine that for a moment. Just, if you wake up, you go to your door because, Uncle Jack dropped off another basket of food, but it's also a stack of comic books that you haven't read. So that's pretty cool, right? So that's one of the things that I encourage people to do is pick up not just our book, like a bunch of independent press books, and drop them off at comic book fans and non-comic book fans, because it's a great time to dive into things that you haven't done before. This is the best time to do it because everybody has a lot of time, abundant amount of time to do stuff. So, read comic books for those who do, and those who don't. Share your passion, get them into it. I got my kids into it. I got other friends who were not snobs, but they always thought comic books were for kids. And then I'm like, oh, really? Here's Watchmen. Here's Kingdom Come. Start with those, and I'll get back to you with the more wacky, awesome stuff. And once you do that, they're in it, because they go, this is amazing stuff. I thought it was just superheroes and stuff, but it's all politics and whatever. And I'm like, great. Here's Umbrella Academy, blew their mind, and then you go on and on, right? So there's so many different genres and stuff that you can share, and definitely do that, please. Pre-order from comic book shops, pick up your order, share the love.
Yes, and definitely the second part of that statement I cannot emphasize enough. Pick up your order. That is a problem within comic shops. So make sure you pre-order those books using the codes that were on screen, and I'll make sure I take a screenshot of it and put it up again. Definitely check out and pre-order the book. That way you can get your hands on it, and do please pick it up. A lot of stores nowadays, especially in the GTA, actually can ship it out to you for a small fee typically. But yes, so thank you so much, guys. Truth be told, you have tapped me out of basically every question I've got. Just naturally, we've kind of covered it all. So I did want to say thank you very much for taking your time to come on the show, tell me all about Damn Cursed Children, and I can't wait to get my hands on issue 1, well, later this month.
Great. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. It's been a lot of fun.